Is this an arithmetic sequence? If so, what is the common difference and what is the explicit rule? We have -3, -3.8, -4.6, -5.4, and so on. How can I tell if this is an arithmetic sequence? And what is the common difference and explicit rule? Chloe is here with her latest cheat sheet notes. She wants you to know that when you have an arithmetic sequence, you will have the same number added when you go from left to right between consecutive terms, or subtract the same number between consecutive terms if you go right to left. The common difference finds the difference between the two terms. The formula for the common difference is G equals A sub n minus A sub n minus 1. The recursive rule depends on one or more previous terms to generate new terms. That formula is A sub n equals A sub n minus 1 plus d, and the explicit rule does not depend on previous terms to find the nth term. So A sub n equals A sub 1 plus the quantity n minus 1 times d is that formula. Now that we have Chloe's cheat sheet notes, let's go ahead and look at this sequence. So the first thing I have here is I'm going to go ahead and put them in a chart. I like to put them in the chart so I know which number is in which position. So in A sub 1, it's -3. In A sub 2, it's -3.8. A sub 3 is -4.6. And A sub 4 is -5.4. Now, to determine if it's an arithmetic sequence, we can look and say, if from left to right, if I add the same number between each term, or if I go from right to left and subtract the same number, then it is an arithmetic sequence. But this is a little bit harder for me to go ahead and just look at to see what I'm adding or subtracting between the terms. So I'm going to use the common difference formula. The common difference formula finds the difference between the two terms. So the common difference formula is D equals A sub n minus A sub n minus 1. So when I'm doing the common difference, you can start anywhere. I just like to start at the right and move to the left. So I'm going to take my n and make it 4. So that's A sub 4 minus A sub 4 minus 1. Well, 4 minus 1 is the same thing as 3. So when I'm finding the common difference using the formula, all I'm taking is one position and subtracting the previous position. A sub 4 is -5.4, and I'm subtracting from that -4.6. -5.4 minus -4.6 is -0.8. Now, I found the common difference between A sub 4 and A sub 3, but in order for this to be an arithmetic sequence, the common difference between all consecutive terms has to be the same. So I'm going to go ahead and try A sub 3 and A sub 2. So that's -4.6 minus -3.8, which is -0.8. Now I'm going to try the difference between A sub 2 and A sub 1. So that'd be -3.8 minus -3, which is also -0.8. So I can see that my common difference between each one of the consecutive terms is D equals -0.8. So I can take -3 and add -0.8 and get -3.8. Add -0.8, get -4.6. Add -0.8, get -5.4. Or I could have gone right to left. -5.4 minus -0.8 is -4.6, and so on. So now that I have the common difference, and I know that the common difference is the same between all consecutive terms, then I can definitely answer the question that yes, it is an arithmetic sequence. So I found that it is an arithmetic sequence, and I did find the common difference. Now it wants me to find the explicit rule. Now the difference between a recursive rule and an explicit rule is, a recursive rule, you have to know previous terms to get the next term. In an explicit rule, you don't have to know previous terms to get a future term. So if I look at that formula, it says A sub n equals A sub 1 plus the quantity n minus 1 times d. So I'm just going to plug in what I have been given. My A sub 1 is always the first term in my sequence, so that is -3. And then I have the quantity n minus 1 times d, which is my common difference. My common difference is -0.8. So from here, what I'm going to essentially do is the distributed property. -0.8 times times n, and then -0.8 times -1. I have to distribute that common difference to both parts inside of the quantity n minus 1. So negative 0.8 times n is negative 0.8 n. Negative 0.8 times negative 1 is a positive 0.8. Then I could combine terms. Negative 3 plus 0.8 is negative 2.2. So my explicit rule is a sub n equals negative 2.2 minus 0.8 n. And then from here, sometimes you'll see it switched around because the terms are just being added or subtracted. You can switch them around. So my explicit rule for this one is a sub n equals negative 0.8 n minus 2.2. That means whatever number or whatever position I'm trying to find, I'm just going to plug that in for n, and it will give me that position in my sequence.